Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the magnificent new Krethusa the Croneseer. Yes, as part of Krethusa's Cronehost, which Games Workshop have sent to me early to build up and paint for all of you, and I'm very excited because she is absolutely fantastic. And, well, she looks initially very complicated, but it's actually very simple. There's only like 3 or 4 colours here to do. And, well, we're going to jump in and we're going to start painting her. So, she's been primed in Grey Seer, and the colour we're going to be using first is Black Legion. And we're going to be using this on, well, most of her. So we want to start right under here, on the inside of the wings. But what we want to do is we want to get this over the top of all of the wings, inside and out. And we want to get this over the top of all of the cloth. And we want to get this over the top of all of the, like, bandages and leather and straps and things that she is in fact wearing. Like I said, we start right under there, just twizzle it in the painting hand a little bit, just to make sure we can get in at the right angle. And then we're just going to continue on our way. See what I mean? That's a lot of black all the way around, as you can see. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Drakenhof Nightshade, and we're going to use this to shade Krethusa's wings. Just her wings. So we want them to have a slightly bluish tint to them. With that Drakenhof Nightshade applied to the wings, what we're then going to do is take some Druchii Violet and I'm going to apply this to the cloak. Give it a slight tint of purple. So with both those shades applied, we're now going to move on to the next colour. And that is going to be some Reikland Fleshshade. I'm going to apply this over the top of her skin. Now there's little bits and pieces of this all over the place, so you want to be very careful here. Although to be honest, if you get this on the hair, that's all okay. If you're painting it fully assembled, you just are going to get paint on the hair. As I said, that's okay. So we've got the shoulders. We've got right in under here on the neck, and a little bit of face just here. We do have the tips of her ears to do, just there and in there, like that. We have her hand, and the other shoulder, which you can get at the second half of from the back there, as well as the other bit of the hand that we've missed, like that. And you can also get at the back of this arm just in here as well. And then of course we have the feet as well. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour, and we're going to apply this over quite a few of the little details. So we've got the little clawed armoured hand just in here. We've got her top knot, as well as this crown poking through the hair. Like so. We've got a little medallion, which is right in here. Like so. There's the anklets. On both legs. There's her mask. And there's the top and the very bottom of the staff. With all of that Retributor Armour applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Leadbelcher. We're going to apply this over top of the dagger and the staff. And the handle of the dagger is just in there. Like so with that Leadbelcher applied, we're then going to add some shades before we do the hair. And there is reason for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Reikland Fleshshade once again, and this time we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the gold. And in my case, you're just going to blob it straight onto the hair. See? Nice and easy to do. Just get in there, mop that up. With all of that Reikland Fleshshade applied, we're then going to take some Nuln Oil. And we're going to use this to shade the hair and the silver. Now you can correct all the hair back up to Grey Seer if you want to. I'm not doing it because we are of course at Warhipster battle ready once this is done, so we will be highlighting it which will be the corrective layer basically. It's just making less work for ourselves, but if you aren't planning to highlight it, you can just, like I said, take some Grey Seer, use that to correct any mistakes you've made, and then apply this Nuln Oil. So with that done, as mentioned, she is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready, so it's now time to take her to the next level. Now the hair is still drying at the moment, but that's okay, because what we're going to do is work on the wings. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some Thunderhawk Blue. I'm going to give a very gentle dry brush of this over the top of all the feathers. With that Thunderhawk Blue dry brush applied, this is going to seem a little bit weird, but what we're then going to do is take some Administratum Grey, and we're going to be really gentle here. I'm going to apply this over the top. So with those dry brushes applied, the wings are now finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the cloaks. So we've got this bit here, and of course the large cloak as well. And the colour we're going to be using to highlight these first is some thinned down Naggaroth Night. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to start applying this as quite a reasonably wide highlight. Over all the folds. It's almost a relayer, but not quite. So with that Naggaroth Night all applied, as you can see, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Phoenician Purple. We're going to use this to effectively add a more narrower highlight. Just like this. So with that Phoenician Purple applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Slaanesh Grey. I'm going to use this to add some really small little spot highlights to the sharpest points in the cape. So we're looking for things like the hem, any kind of sharp angles in the folds. So with that done, the long flowing cloaks are now finished. So what we're going to do is move on to the other black detail, which is all the wraps. Now the colour we're going to be using to highlight these is some thinned down Dawnstone. This is going to be the kind of trickiest bit. So with that Dawnstone all applied, what we're now going to do is take some thinned down Flayed One Flesh. And we're going to use this to, well, effectively relayer the skin. So with that done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Volupus Pink, not very much of this at all. We're going to apply this over the top of the bottom lip, and the inside of her mouth. Like that, just a little tiny little bit of pink. So with that done, the skin is all finished. We don't have to go any further because we want it to be nice, soft and supple. So we don't want to add too many kind of harsh highlights or anything like that. And I think it already looks fantastic. So what we're going to do now is move on to the main event, which is the hair. Now the colour we're going to be using here is some thinned down Corax White. And basically what we're going to do here is we're going to use this to pick out all of the strands of the hair. So with that Corax White all applied, the hair is actually finished. And it looks fantastic. So what we're going to do now is move on to all of the gold. And the colour we're going to be using to highlight that is some thinned down Liberator Gold. So with that all done, we're then going to take some black Templar and we're going to apply this over the top of the flat of the dagger. Just like that. So with that now done, we're going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker and we're going to use this to highlight the silver. And with that done, we're now going to finish off Krethusa herself by taking some Akhelian Green, and we're going to apply this over the top of the 2 gems at the top of the staff. There's one on this side and one on the other. So with Krethusa herself now finished, it's time to work on the base. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking some Skeleton Horde, and we're going to apply this over the top of the kind of elven architecture. Now there is a little bit of it just down here as well that we want to apply this over. Like so. And then we have the big bit upon which she stands, or I guess perches is the proper word here. With that Skeleton Horde all applied, we're then going to take some Gryph-Charger Grey. We're going to apply this over the rocks. This is to kind of match with the other Daughters of Cain models that we've done. You could do this any colour. Interestingly enough, there isn't too much texture on this kind of sandy bit. So not kind of typical for Games Workshop miniature. So with that done, it might seem silly to do this now, but what we are going to do is take some Armageddon Dust, and we're going to apply this over the top of all the negative space, but we're also just going to overlap this onto the kind of very non-textured areas. Once all of that Armageddon Dust is dry, we're then going to take some Aggaros Dunes. We're going to apply this all over the top of all of that deserty stuff. So with that all done, we're now going to take some Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of our birds. Crows, I believe. We're also going to apply this over the top of all of the discarded feathers as well. With that then done, we're then going to take some Nuln Oil, and we're going to apply this over the top of the skulls. And with that now done, we want to take some thinned down Leadbelcher. We're going to use this to paint in all of our metallic details. So this is going to be the cauldron. There's a couple of little bits of broken crockery or whatever in and around the base. So with that then done, we're going to take two colours, Shyish Purple and Black Templar. And we're going to apply this over the contents of the cauldron as well as the wispy smoke. So we're going to start with the Shyish Purple and we're going to apply this all over these bits. We're going to apply this like this. We want to get it all over. Like so. Then we wash the brush, touch off the water, grab some Black Templar, and then over the tip of the smoke, and apply it to around about there, halfway down. Like that. If you want to, you can also apply this over the top of the contents, and if you're feeling really frisky, apply this over the top of kind of the inner bowl. So with that done, we're waiting for it to dry, but it is now time to start adding some shades. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with some Athonian Camoshade. And what we're going to do here is we're going to apply this over the top of just a few areas on that elven architecture, and mostly just this kind of crease here, but we're also going to apply this over the kind of broken sections. Like that. Apply a little bit in there. And then on the Gryph-Charger Grey areas as well, we're also going to apply this like so. However, on the Gryph-Charger Grey areas, we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, then we're going to just kind of dab at it to kind of reduce that green effect a little bit. And also just create a little bit of a kind of scuffing. And so with that then done, we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to use this to shade the top rim of the bowl. And so with that then done, we're going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm going to use this to shade the rest of the bowl and the other silver details. So with that now done, the basis of what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. So what we're going to do is going to add some highlights, and there aren't too many of these. First one is going to be some Administratum Grey, and we're going to use this to dry brush the birds. Just kind of like what we did with Krethusa, except we're not going to do the Thunderhawk Blue layer first. And in a truly shocking turn of events, we're then going to use some Tyrant Skull to dry brush all of the rocks and the sand, the discarded feathers, the skulls, but not the cauldron. With that then done, we're going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker and we're going to use this to highlight the cauldron. We're just looking for the outer edges and this kind of swirly design. Like that sort of thing. With that Ironbreaker applied, we then want to use a tiny little bit of Liberator Gold to pick out this little rune right here in the middle of the cauldron. Like that. And finally, to finish things off, we're going to take a little bit of Slaanesh Grey. I'm going to use this to highlight the smoke. So with our base now complete, once again AOS is responsible for another absolutely stunning model in the form of Krethusa the Croneseer. She's absolutely fantastic and I love it. It was really fun to paint, super quick as well. It's basically like 4 colours and then the base is whatever you want, which is great, and like I just really enjoyed this one. I think she's absolutely fantastic and big thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.